Hey friends, so it's week 7 of the course here, and I apologize for those that like to wake up Monday morning and knock this out early. I am a little late in getting this loaded here. Um, I was like, I must not be feeling well. I don't know why, says the guy who chased a ton of bourbon this weekend with a bunch of Girl Scout cookies and thought that would be a good idea at 42 years old to do that. Um, but sorry. So to make up for my mistakes or my not feeling great, I'm giving you an extra day this week. So the assignments for this week, everything for this week will be due on Monday instead of Sunday, so you have an extra day. To make up for the fact that I'm getting this up a little bit later than I normally would here. So what I'm going to do here is just talk about this week, the course material briefly here. I want to talk about the midterm exam that's coming up in week 8, which is next week. I'll tell you a little bit about that. Talk a little bit about the paper and a couple other things here. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. So looking at week 7, to this point, we've mostly talked about sort of these high-level theories related to how international relations should occur based on these different frameworks and models. Now we're going to start shifting into seeing how international relations actually occurs. And so the week 7 lecture here, which is the last week lecture prior to the midterm exam, will cover basically international policy development at kind of a high level. So we'll talk about some of who the major players are, kind of what are the motivations of state actors when they engage in international relations. I'm going to pull, actually, you'll see from quite a bit of my experience in working with embassies and state departments. I think I've alluded to before that in my role of representing airports, oftentimes I've attended trade missions in various parts of the world, mostly in Europe and Latin America. And those are typically coordinated through the embassy. And so I've had many a dinner at the ambassador's office or home, rather, which is really cool. And I've also gotten to work with a lot of sort of State Department officials stationed abroad, which is really neat because those people have a really sort of fascinating job and they seem to really enjoy it. So I'll talk some about that in the lecture there. So in terms of what to watch this week, you've got obviously this video here, the lecture 7 video that's about 30, almost 35 minutes there. So provide the code word as you usually do there. In terms of reading, you got two things. You got one section from your from chapter 4 here related to foreign policy development. Then I've also given you a separate article called Why China-Taiwan Relations Are So Tense. So Chinese-Taiwanese relations have long been tense, but it's really sort of ramped up of late. So I think it's very important that you sort of understand that because it also provides a very good context for a lot of the course material that we're covering this semester. You have an assignment this week, no discussion. That assignment is questions related to that piece. And so as I always recommend, your best strategy is really just to have those questions available to you as you read through it so you can answer those. So two things, like I said, they're both through the 27th, which is Monday, so you have an extra day to do them there. So that covers week 7. So the midterm exam is going to be week 8, and hopefully by the time you see this, you should see a folder in the first half course content folder that says midterm exam. In that folder, there'll be a couple things. One will be instructions for taking the exam, so review that because it'll have all the details about dates and format and that sort of thing. And then you also see a midterm review sheet. Going back to the instructions for a second here, just to give you a high-level overview, the way I structure the exams, it's 35 multiple-choice questions. Those are worth 2 points each, and then there will be 6 short-answer essay questions worth 5 points each. If you, like I mentioned, there's a review sheet there that has topics. So my purpose in creating that review sheet is to sort of guide you to things that I think it would be most important for you to study and understand. Will there be some questions that aren't on the review sheet? Yeah, a couple, but most of what's covered on the exam will probably be on that review sheet there. It's as much a solid fact in 20 years of teaching as I can come up with. I've historically, particularly in online classes, been able to see who accesses the review material and who doesn't, and there is a substantial and statistically significant relationship in the eventual exam grade for people that access the review sheet and those that didn't. The real mystery is it's a chicken and the egg thing. Is it students that would have otherwise done well that are motivated to look at it or not? either way, don't test that out. Just use that material to your benefit there. One of the other things that I'm going to do is, and this is the first time I've done this, is that I'm actually going to do a couple live review sessions. So you may remember in the syllabus that I mentioned that there's basically 5% credit for attending one of these live sessions over the course of the semester. We haven't had any thus far, but what I'm going to do, and I'll post links in the announcements, but I'm going to come up with two like 30-minute essentially periods, and provide Microsoft Teams links. And so if you want to, log in and be live, then you'll get credit for that. I'm doing two times, dates, just to make it as flexible for people as possible. I certainly understand that some people might not be able to make these just due to work and other responsibilities and that sort of thing. I will record at least one of those so you have access to that material as well, because I don't want to discriminate against somebody who, if you work nights or something like that and you just can't make either one of them. And there'll be other opportunities to log into a live session too. But I've introduced this semester because I'd like to have at least some actual interaction. I'm working off, like, I'm 10% confident that maybe this whole thing is a simulation and none of you actually exist and I'm just talking to a blank screen. And that's a credit to you guys because you're not very high maintenance, because I don't get a lot of emails about this class, which I appreciate. But at the same time, too, if you need anything, just let me know. So I say that in jest because I'm still a little loopy. So that covers the exam. And then I'm going to open the second phase, the information for the second phase of your term paper. That's going to be a small lit review section. It's going to require a little bit of research. It's not going to be terribly complicated. You'll have an example paper to show you what I'm looking for. You'll have instructions. Everything you need will be there. But I'm, again, happy to answer any questions that you have. So, again, I'm sorry that this is running a little late between before the Girl Scout cookie binge. There's just been a lot of drama that comes with raising, two 10-year-old boys in a neighborhood full of other boys. And, if there are any parents out there, you can certainly appreciate that. So, hope you have a good week this week. Let me know if I have any questions. Like I said, I know there's a lot coming up, but just pay attention to those announcements and check out the instructions for the midterm, because that'll give you the dates and everything. I'll mention there too that you'll take the midterm via Blackboard. It's a timed exam, so it's not designed to be open book, but obviously I can't, be in your living room or bedroom or whatever watching you take the exam. So you can use whatever resource you have available to you. Just know that it's timed, but that's all included in the instructions there. Thanks so much, everyone. Enjoy the week 7 material, and then as soon as you wrap that up, I would take a look at that midterm exam stuff, review material, and start studying for that. Thanks so much, guys.